Your mind.
Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop.
What do you think?
Oh, what do you think? You know, that's always what I want to know. 864-229-7984. That's 864-229-7984. Oh, I tell you what, it feels oppressive outside this morning, but I tell you what, last night out there at Grand Harbor, it was an outpouring of love and caring and consideration for what Pathway House has done, continues to do, and because of the vision of Jack Parham and, of course, his wife, Barbara. We all know that Jack Parham was an unbelievable individual. I knew he delivered a lot of babies in Greenwood, but I never knew that he delivered over 10,000 babies. That's a lot of babies, let me tell you. And having been around Jack Parham, it was always fun to see somebody that never failed in the times that I was around him, that somebody didn't come up and say, you delivered me. And what was the quote that he always had? He always said, and you're the most beautiful baby and the smartest too, or something close to that. So that was always fun to see, but he definitely worked very hard. And in a minute, we're going to have an interview from Kenneth Parham, who is his son that was at this event last night. And he told me that, and well, you'll get to hear it, but the point I want to make is I asked him how it was to grow up around somebody as transformational and involved in the community and what effect it had on him. He said, truthfully, Ann, I know my dad's fingerprints are all over me, but there were many days when he was delivering babies that he was not around. So I know how it is to have somebody who works as hard as he works. So, but we're going to be playing those interviews. I've got some pictures, and we'll be also looking at their Legacy of Care website, part of the Pathway website, greenwoodpathway.org. So, anyways, it is great to see that somebody is honored and a way that something can start and continue. So that's what we're going to talk about. You are watching, if you're on Facebook, WCRS 98.5 / 1450 AM. And of course, if you've got a comment here this morning, 864-229-7984. If you know anything more about the bear, let me know that if you know anything more about the bear out there. 864-229-7984. All right. Well, I am wearing one of my barbecue T-shirts here today. Somebody's going to say, and you've got it on backwards. And I'm going to say, yes, I do, because I wanted to be able to show it off. So, yes. How do you show it off when it's on your back? Well, you turn around. Nah, you just put it on backwards. Anyways, check it out, 864-229-7984. All right, we are going to start my little program, my little information, my news story for you about what happened at Pathway last night. Privileged to have been there and seen all this, and I wanted to make sure that we did a good show for this. So let's see. Is it there? No, where is it? Okay, where is it? All right, well, I'm going to take 1 second here and pull this back in. You know, sometimes you think you're doing everything right, and still it doesn't work right. So maybe we'll try doing this way, because we're going to play those two, and then we'll come back and add the other two. So there you go. All right. And so This is a little intro that happened last night when they were getting ready to do a very good size, large check that was presented last night to Pathway House. This is a little intro from Anthony right here on WCRS. Take it away right now.
So, the way this got started was Doc left us $300,000 in his will. And we decided that there's no better way to use that than to launch this. And I know you've probably seen over on the donor workbench, and that workbench did come out of his shop. Kenneth was telling me some tales of it being at Doc's workshop, so I'm kind of... so we decided to launch the Parham Legacy of Care Society. It is not an honor of, it's not like we built a statue of Jack on the campus. This is kind of like the Madame Curie Society, but better, because it's momentum that Jack already built. And I'm going to share that with you. That momentum's already there. That impact is already there. We see it at hospice, and we see it at the United Center, and we see it at Pathway, and we saw it at his church, and there's a whole list of all the things he did in here. And what the society does is it recognizes and honors and celebrates visionary individuals that want to make a difference in our community like he did. And that's the key to this, is it's about building a better community, because that's what he wanted. He wanted a better community. And we're giving you a chance to take what he started and make it bigger. And when I first talked to Kenneth about this, I think he said ripple effect like 5 times. And it just ripples. And so I just wanted to share with you just a little bit of information to show you the impact you're already having by supporting Pathway House. So in the last 12 months, we've had 121 clients move into their own home in 12 months. We've had 104 clients get a job, and we baptized 32 clients in the last 12 months. So see, you're already making an eternal difference. You're already having a ripple effect that's going out through our community, that's putting $5 million a year back into our community, but it's changing lives forever. But what I really wanted to share with you, it kind of goes back. You're continuing, that's this whole ripple effect. You're building on what Jack started. I've heard so many times that we never had a homeless problem until Dr. Parham built that shelter. Well, when you look at the facts, the highest year, the highest number of homelessness ever recorded in 1 year in Greenwood County was in 2013. Okay? We didn't even have a shelter. We just had cold weather at St. Mark. We didn't even have a shelter. And Jack and the board recognized this huge problem. 238 homeless people, to be precise. And he said, we got to do something. And they bought the property and they moved over to the current campus where we're at in that little white building. And we didn't even have a shelter until 2014. But let me tell you what you've been a part of, that Jack's vision, he understood, that you're now a part of, and it just keeps growing. Since 2013, homelessness, the number of homeless people in Greenwood County, has gone down 42%. Okay? In case you're wondering, in the United States, it's gone up 28.5% since 2013. But our homelessness is down 42%. But that's not even the best number. Unsheltered homelessness is a term that they use in the government reports that means people that are sleeping in a tent or in their car or in an outbuilding, a place that's not fit for human habitation. Since 2013, our unsheltered homelessness has gone down 98%. We are probably one of the best counties in the state at a 3% unsheltered homeless rate. Okay? Greenville's at 12% and so on. And what that means, what that really means is the people that are homeless are in a place like Pathway or a similar facility that's helping them, because there's some domestic violence and there's some transitional housing that are helping people. But that number's gone down, and that number works out to about, okay, so in 2013 we had 134 unsheltered people, I think. Okay? We've dropped that 98%. We, and I mean that we take no government money. Everything we do is because of you. And so what I would like to ask you to do is, I bought these on purpose, okay? And some of you already have names on our donor workbench over there, and that just means you didn't know you were given to the thing. But if you've given since January 1st, and we're going to do this on a rolling one-year cycle, and it is a giving. It's just to motivate you, but it's making a difference. You're making a real difference in Greenwood County, a really huge difference. And I'll tell you, we just filled up our last cottage today, okay, and the numbers are not going down. It's a little rough out there right now, but God's been good. Every time we get full, somebody else will move into housing, and I'll have another cottage come open. So it's working, but we really, 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 did I say really? Really appreciate everything you do for this ministry, because I can tell you 98% reduction in unsheltered homelessness did not happen by chance. It was some visionary people and some people that are willing to give. And you'll see this quote in here, and you're going to hear me say it over and over and over again. Generosity fuels meaningful change. That's what Jack did. He fueled meaningful change, and you are doing the exact same thing. That's why you're here. You're fueling a meaningful change in our community. I just wanted to say thank you so very much, especially from our clients, that it's amazing to see the change from the time they come in to the time they go out. They're completely different people, and you make all that possible. Thank you.
We're also
Oh, that's right. That is Anthony Price, Executive Director of Pathway House. Give you a little introduction. I just want to give you those numbers again. In the last 12 months, 121 people have gotten a home. In the last 12 months, 104 have gotten a job. 32 have been baptized. Since 2013, when this thing started, homelessness has gone down 42%, and unsheltered, which means people that live in a tent, in a car, just don't have any real place to go, down 98%. So as Anthony said, a lot of people say we didn't have any homeless problem until Pathway came along. I think they're a little wrong. So this is the start of what we talked about. Now, if you're watching right now, I have the Pyram Legacy of Care Society up there on the screen. This is so cool to be able to do this. I don't know what to think. I can do all this stuff now. But anyways, this is Pathway's website, which is gwdpathway.org. I would recommend that you go and check that out. So after they had a check presentation, and then I got to interview Kenneth Parham, and so I'm going to play that interview that I did and just let you see how he feels about what is happening and how he thinks his dad would feel about it. It was a very thoughtful and very caring interview. I know you can tell that he is Jack's son, Jack Parham's son. So take it away with the interview, cut 3. I'm here with Kenneth Parham, and he is the son of Dr. Jack Parham. Kenneth, this experience tonight, your dad giving the $300,000 to start this legacy, what does this mean to you, and knowing your dad the way you knew your dad and everything?
Wow. Dad passed away closing in on a year ago, August of last year. And I guess in a way, this just almost evokes him. It so represents not just him, but my mom, Barbara Parham, so purely that it feels familiar.
How did it feel growing up with a man who was so dedicated to everything? I mean, I heard 10,000 babies is how many he delivered. You know, but how does it feel to have grown up in a family where your dad was such an icon in the community?
No, it's a good question. Honestly, had no clue.
It didn't affect you at all?
Oh, I'm sure it had. He has put his fingerprints all over me, but growing up, you don't recognize the influence that comes later. And so Dad also had 2 distinct chapters to his life. Thank you, sir.
I'm not sure it's the right one.
And they've been a real challenge to me as I get older, because as he did deliver 10,000 babies in his career. He also told me, and I love the symmetry of it, that with hospice, probably well over 10,000 patients died with dignity. And so he was involved in the whole life cycle in very meaningful ways.
To the end.
Yeah. And Pathway fits right perfectly in the middle. So all of that is redemptive. But growing up, I knew his career self. And that was part of his passion, was being excellent in everything. And so sometimes I wouldn't see him for days as an OBGYN. But then what has been really changing, impactful to me, is to go back and kind of just review his timeline of life and my mom's, and see that when he retired, that's really when he got active. And I want that for whenever that shows up in my life.
Right.
I want those years to be my more active years.
That's cool. That's very cool. I think, I tried to interview your dad, I don't know how many times over the years. And later, Ann, later. He was never going to give me the satisfaction of an interview. Except for the day when they dedicated the Pathway Village. And he didn't have a lot to say, but he actually talked to me for a few minutes. And some of my best memories is watching him standing there looking over the field where they were going to build the houses, and he was in deep thought about buying a piece of extra property and being able to swap property with this one to be able to do this. But to see his vision and how much he cared and wanted to keep himself in the background, I always admired.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Somebody told me something one time about how a real faith is almost seeing the unseen as tangible. And what you're describing there, I think, showed the faith that he had in the vision, the literal vision of creating Pathway. He could see it before it was created, but having seen it in his mind, it was real, and it was that at that point only, quote unquote, about how to make it happen, how to do it.
I think you have to be very proud to see the outpouring of support and everything that you've seen and now with the Pathway legacy. What does that mean?
Yeah, yes, very proud, very humbled by it. Just so blessed to be his son, and so blessed to have walked with him through different stages of watching him and Mom and cast the vision, and then seeing it come to fruition was a thrill. And so it's exciting to see. It's, I guess in a way it would be, maybe look at it from the other angle. If Pathway were a flash in the pan, then all of those things that were building up to making it happen would be frustrating and disappointing. Having him now passed away and seeing it not continuing. And so seeing it continuing beyond his life,
right,
and seeing it expand beyond himself,
right,
is exciting and energizing.
You know, do you ever think about what it would be like if this program here could be something that could be duplicated somewhere else? Because, you know, you just look at the results that Pathway House has had in reducing homelessness, the figures that Anthony was talking about tonight.
Absolutely amazing.
And yet other places throw lots of money at it but don't get the results because they don't spend the time. Wouldn't it be marvelous if that could be duplicated in some way? Well,
as was mentioned tonight, that Anthony, the director, is one of a kind.
Right.
And to God be the glory for him, for the staff, for all of the supporters and the community that allows it to happen. But you're right, it's a model that not only we should dream about, but we should really work to make it replicate.
Sure.
I know
you're from Greenville, aren't you?
Yeah, and there's a companion ministry there, Miracle Hill.
Right.
And Reed Lehman was grew up in that area and was the director for a long time. And in his retirement, he actually now is taking that model around the country and trying to help places like, as he did here in Greenwood, trying to help others get started.
Well, it would be amazing if they could, because all the time that has been put into it. You know, if your dad was here today, what do you think he'd say? Don't talk about me.
Well, I will tell you that one thing after he passed away, one thing that a good close friend that Dad had, Jimmy Reardon, from the moment we moved to Greenwood back in the 60s, told me that Dad said to him they had worked on some project, that they had just finished it, and instead of relaxing and catching up on lost sleep, Dad's words were, "What's next?" And so he would definitely not want to draw attention to himself,
right,
but he also wouldn't want to rest in the success.
Exactly. And one last question. What about the workbench and seeing that? You said that you were glad that you knew about it before you came here. What about seeing that workbench today?
It's so creative. It's so perfect how it ties together the essence of my dad, who I figured out late in life that as an OBGYN he had to scrub up all the time, and so everything he did outside of work, his hands were dirty. And so he loved working in the shop, in the garden, getting in the mess with life. And
he didn't believe in using a broom, right?
Then he didn't believe in using a broom. The loneliest equipment in his shop was his broom. But he was. It's the essence of his creativity, and the workbench represents that. But then that workbench was also a big part of the early days of Pathway, where a way that the clients could get a leg up is by learning a skill.
Correct.
And often in the woodworking shop. And so this bench is almost a bridge between Dad's vision, Dad's essence, and the vision and the success of Pathway.
Absolutely. Well, I feel blessed that I was able to know him and follow the things that he did. I think
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, it was really an experience, and even though I always had the mic and tried to get something out of him, I never did. I always from afar. You can see that his mind was always turning. His mind was always turning, and he was always so humble. So I feel blessed, and this organization, the legacy, is going to be a great thing for Greenwood. And we here in Greenwood appreciate the fact that it is something that's going to continue with Dr. Palmer and the fact that money is going to grow.
Well, thank you for being a voice for those that don't have a voice.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kenneth Parham.
Very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you, and enjoy this beautiful evening. What a celebration of your dad.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ann.
Thank you. That was my interview with Kenneth Parham, the son of Dr. Jack Parham and Barbara, and I thought very thoughtful interview, and really felt that he captured it. I don't know if you caught that, what he said about, but his dad's hands always had to be so clean when he was delivering babies and whatnot, and so he liked to get in his wood shop, and there was nothing clean in the wood shop. And what did Kenneth say? That the broom was the loneliest piece of equipment. He talked about earlier off our interview. He talked about the fact that one day he was standing there in his shop in Jack's shop, and Kenneth was standing there, and he made the comment, Jack did, that the broom looked brand new. And his dad goes, well, what do you mean about that? Obviously, it's never been used in here. And he thought that perhaps the fact that his dad always had to be so clean and sterilized and everything, the fact that he could get out there and get his hands dirty. Right now, if you're watching on the web, I am on our Facebook Live. I've got a picture of that workbench. It's been totally refinished, and such a statement that Pathway House has Jack Parham's original bench. In fact, it was at the event last night, but it will be back there in the boardroom of Pathway House. And they're going to use it to spotlight their donors that help keep Pathway going to the next level, and promoting that generosity fuels meaningful change. And so what a statement that is. What a beautiful piece of woodwork it is. And to know that Jack Parham spent many, many times relaxing, unwinding, and working on projects. In fact, one of the first programs that they added at Pathway was a woodworking program, because they wanted the guys, originally it was just guys, to learn a skill, and learning the woodworking had a lot of good things that helped teach a lot of possibilities. You know, one of the things that I just want to say, that the reason Pathway, part of the reason that Pathway is successful with its clients, is the fact that they get to the root cause of the trauma. And many of us, many people, sometimes you don't even realize you suffered trauma, but there's something deep rooted, and eventually it's gonna come out. And so I think that's where a lot of people that can be very successful for long periods of time, and then all of a sudden they crash. Well, part of that, the majority of it, I believe, is the trauma. One of the things that makes Pathway successful, that's they get to the root cause of a person's trauma, and they do it usually over a year's time, to peel back all the layers and get there. You know, I kind of liken it, you know, when we, psychiatrists used to talk to their clients and find out what their root problems were and try to get to the bottom of it to heal them. Now psychiatry has become basically, not that there's still not true psychiatrists out there, but psychiatrists today, they medicate just to try to make people function, but they never really get to the root cause of their problem, of their trauma. And that is a travesty. And so I think what Pathway House is able to do, they spend money on the training of their employees. They spend oodles and oodles of hours counseling, listening. And that's the other thing they do. They listen. They do not direct somebody, oh, you've got to do this, or if you do this, you will be successful. They listen and help the person make themselves healthy again. And of course, it all is Christian-centered. And that is probably why this program will never be able to go nationwide, and because of the God factor. Federal government doesn't wants nothing that is related to God in that they are paying for, which is why Pathway House does not take any federal money. They have had success. 121 people got a home. 104 got a job. So these are some of the things that my takeaways from working with Pathway for years and years. In fact, I had been on the radio, I think, about 3 years. I think it was 2010, when we had that bitterly cold winter and we had no place for people that did not have shelter. The only place we had was the soup kitchen. And, of course, this is actually, I think, how this got started. So I have just a short clip from Peter Manning talking about, well, let's call them the good old days, the good old days. Here we go. This is early days of Pathway with Peter Manning, who has been the president. He's now on the foundation board. And we've got a picture of Kenneth Parham, Anthony Price, and Peter Manning that are sitting around that bench. I'm going to put that picture back up. Take it away with Peter Manning. Okay. All right. I am here with Peter Manning, and we go back a long way with Peter and the early beginnings of Pathway House when it was just a cold weather shelter. And Peter, you were telling me about how you worked in 4-hour shifts back in the day.
That's right. Back when we started, we would pick people up at the soup kitchen and would bus them over to St. Mark United Methodist Church, which was the church I was a member of at the time. And we would make sure they were safe. And after they came in, they had the opportunity to have a hot meal. We would provide laundry for them. We also had the opportunity for them to go into our clothes closet and pick out clothes that they needed. And then about 10 o'clock at night, Tom Watkins and I would sit down. We would show up, and we would spend 4-hour shifts. And so the way we did it was Tom was there for the first 4 hours awake, and I was there for the next 4 hours awake. And you always had to have somebody awake in case there was a fire, or in case there's somebody that wanted to talk to you, or somebody needed help with their laundry. And there's some security issues, obviously. You don't want people out being able to leave and then come back for safety's sake. So it was a lot of fun doing that.
And then you cooked breakfast, right?
And then I'd wake up, and I was awake, and so about 6 o'clock in the morning, I'd start scrambling eggs. And, if you ask my daughters if I ever fix breakfast for them, they'd say no. But if you were to ask about 300 or 400 folks, 300 or 400 men, to say, yeah, I remember Mr. Peters' grits are really good, and the secret to grits is a whole bunch of butter.
Okay. Well, so fast forward from where we are. I mean, so you've been involved in this from the very beginning, and correct?
That's correct.
And I would think that to see it today with what has been built, working with Dr. Parham and seeing this, I can remember interviewing you when you cut the ribbon over there for the Pathway Village.
Correct.
I mean, there's just been so much that keeps happening. And what do you think the reason is that Greenwood has been so blessed?
I came from Miami, Florida, and we moved to Greenwood for a reason. It's because there is a community here where people love each other, care about each other. And, we've lived in a bunch of places, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Greenville, Columbia. There's no place better than Greenwood. People care about each other. That sense of community across the board, no matter what it is the difference. And we're all family. We're all created in God's image. And we all need to watch out for each other. And that's the embodiment of Greenwood.
I think that is so true. That was Peter Manning right here with us. Short clip from last night right here on WCRS radio. We are talking about the legacy of care, the Parham Legacy of Care Society. I was right. The Parham Legacy of Care Society that was kicked off last night out there at Grand Harbor with a lovely event. And the joy that was in that room and the energy that was in that room to continue doing what their mission has been, and to see the fact that homelessness has gone down 42% here in Greenwood since 2013, and unsheltered has gone down 98% is so huge. So I want to finish up this segment with a short interview I had with one of my favorite people, the one and only Anthony Price, Executive Director. I would like to remind you, if you are interested in getting involved in this, that you go to Greenwood, to their website to check out all about them, and don't forget to check out the Parham Legacy of Care Society, which is on their website, one of the tabs that you can look at. Go to Greenwood, GWDpathway.org. That's GWDpathway.org. If you are looking for an organization to get involved with, if you're looking for a way to make sure what you invest is going to last a long time and making a long-term effect, think about Pathway House, because they really have the tools. They've spent their time developing this program, and it is phenomenal. Trauma is the bottom line why people end up in homelessness, and you cannot fix it by just giving somebody a house, giving them money to support themselves. They need to work through it, and with what Pathway House does, they have the tools to help them work through it. This is the last, yes, here we go. This is the last interview of this great night last night. Anthony Price. I'm here with Anthony Price, Executive Director. We have just finished the kickoff for the Legacy of Pathway Legacy, brought to you by Dr. Jack Parham, right?
It's the Parham Legacy of Care Society.
Okay,
So,
it's a society.
yes, I've said it enough times now that I'm getting it down pat. So,
what does that mean for Pathway House?
well, what it is it's just recognizing what Dr. Parham gave to our community, and it's showing how generosity fuels meaningful change. And so what we're trying to give our community is a way that they can build off of what Dr. Parham did and generate positive change in our community. So we want to recognize visionary individuals that are going to make a difference in the long term in Greenwood by helping people get out of homelessness, helping them get jobs and homes, and becoming productive members of the community.
You know, one of the questions that I've heard a lot tonight is, why can't this be patterned to be put across the nation?
Well, that's a good question, and I will just tell you that probably three drawbacks that I see talking to people that contact us. Number one, we don't take any government funding, so that cuts a lot of people out. But this is a faith-based. The healing that occurs on our campus comes through the strength of Jesus Christ, and that is an important part of our program. And the third part is this is about a relationship. This is building a relationship with broken people, and it takes almost a year to do this. It's a lot of hard work. It can be really frustrating, and not too many people are interested in that hard work part of this thing.
So it's education-wise, it takes a lot to educate your people to be able to do this as far as training for the counselors.
Yes, hundreds of hours of training. We've spent thousands of dollars to have all of our staff understand trauma and the implications of it, because we want everybody they interact with to understand the impact and why our clients act that way. And it's a part of it. And I think that's part of the problem. A lot of people just believe that homelessness is a housing problem, and it's not. That's just the visible symptom. It's the trauma that drives all these problems. And when we understood that, then we could start making real changes in our community.
Now, if somebody wants to find out more about this, what should they do?
The best thing to do is go to our website at gwdpathway.org. The Legacy of Care Society is on our website now, so you can look into that and see how to be a member. It's given a donation to either the ministry or the foundation of $5,000 or more per year. It's an annual membership. There's different giving levels. All that's explained. And then we just celebrate with events like this in recognition for people that are making a positive difference in our community.
Which is carrying on the vision of Dr. Parham.
Yeah, it's just, he started momentum, and we're building on that momentum and making. That's why our community is doing so much better in homelessness than anybody else in the state, is because we're building on the momentum Dr. Parham started all the way back in 2011, when homelessness was out of control and nobody believed it, but he understood it. That's why 2013 was the highest year ever recorded for homelessness in Greenwood. And since that time, our homelessness has gone down 42%. People making a difference by being generous, and it's fueling changes that are making our community better than everybody else's.
Absolutely. Well, I think it was a great event here tonight, and I'm glad I got to come and talk to you and see it and be part of it. And the workbench is just phenomenal. And that's the funniest story, because that one just kind of fell together. None of us thought of that. It just happened one day. But when you have a great person like Dr. Parham, that foundation is really easy to build off of. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anthony Price, Executive Director for Pathway House. Well, I hope you got a feel for what happened last night. There was a $300,000 check that was presented last night from Jack Parham's estate. That's what he had left for Pathway House. And they're going to use that as a building block to cement the future of Pathway House. And anybody that would like more information about how to get involved, how to give if you'd like to give, but whatever aspect you would like, all you need to do is go to gwdpathway.org. That's gwdpathway.org. Of course, you can stop on by and see them there at the Pathway House. You can give items to their thrift store. A lot of people think that they need to give directly to the clients, and Anthony always says, give to the thrift store. That way, that's the money that comes in to help our clients and fund this. So Pathway Thrift Store is a steady way to do good things. But there's a lot of information on their website, gwdpathway.org. That's gwdpathway.org. Please check that out. Please shop there. Please donate there. And please think about perhaps a larger gift that will make sure that Greenwood is helping those, and that generosity fuels meaningful change. And there certainly has been a change when we talk about homelessness, trauma, and making broken people whole again. So, that was a very good night. very, very good night last night. Glad that I was able to be part of it. As we finish up here this morning, let's see, we got, what do we got going on, Ann? I don't know. What have we got going on, Ann? Let's check out and see something that maybe I can tell y'all something about here, this coming next week, next Friday, a week from today, is God, it's hard to believe. It is the 4th of July. The last day of the month is coming up. God, Monday is the last day of the month. Don't you just find that it's so hard to understand where we are at? So as we finish this week up, make sure that you take the time. Make sure that you take the time to think of others. Do something that's going to be a lasting treasure. We all know that we're not going to be here forever. We know that we're not going to be here forever. Okay. All right. I just saw something interesting. I'm just perusing and looking at news as we're going along here. Something I do. Just want to mention this, just a couple of things. A big win for South Carolina, and they were they spearheading it? I know that McMaster and others were up there practicing in front of the Supreme Court. But the U.S. Supreme Court allows South Carolina to remove Planned Parenthood from their Medicaid list. So it says, and I think this is very significant, this affects not only South Carolina, but there are many other states that were involved in this lawsuit that made it in front of the Supreme Court. Medicaid patients do not have the right to sue to visit the doctor of their choice, allowing states like South Carolina to remove clinics that also provide abortions from their list of providers. That's what the U.S. Supreme Court decided on Thursday. The South Carolina case that led to Thursday's opinion began with a 2018 executive order in which Governor Henry McMaster directed the state's Medicaid agency to remove abortion clinics from the list of medical providers that patients can choose. 6 justices agreed with that decision. So that will be a change. That is something I'm sure that Planned Parenthood was not expecting, but it has now gone all the way to the Supreme Court. So the final decision has been made. Regardless of where you fall on that is a decision. Of course, we've got the heartbeat bill. Abortions, as far as a way to have abortions, are very limited here in South Carolina. Have a 6-week window when the heartbeat, and of course there are a couple, I believe, exceptions still for rape or incest. A couple of these things. But basically, we are at a 6-week window, and they are now the state does not have to give money to abortion providers. So there you go. That was a big decision. I noticed there's a couple of other decisions coming in this morning. We won't be able to take the time to talk about them this morning, but I'll be on it on Monday. So this weekend coming up, there is a great show over there at Fiddle and Bow. In fact, tonight, Jim Lauderdale with Mac Leopard live at the Fiddle and Bow in Honeypath. Doors open at 6 p.m. Show starts at 7. Purchase tickets by calling the box office 864-940-2254. I'm going to tell you what, the Fiddle and Bow is just a cool, unique place. If you are looking for something cool and unique to do, go to the Fiddle and Bow over there in Honeypath. Justin Aiken has done just such a good job. It was an old, was it a grocery store? I think I'm trying to remember, but it was a grocery store. It was a store over there, right there on Main Street, and he has converted it. He's put a stage in there. One of the things I like about it, the max size of the crowd is about 115 people, and it's all about the experience. It's all about the experience. The experience and the relationship between the artist on the stage and the people in the audience. So whether Jim Lauderdale is, but he has quite a variety. He does get some great artists. We actually had Marty Brown with us on the air a few weeks ago, and I went over there to the show. Marty Brown has written music for many, many people, including George Strait. And George Strait has a song that Marty Brown is very proud to have finally gotten a song that George Strait was going to have, To the Moon. So check it out. Check out the Fiddle and Bow. It is a gem in our area. Even though it's up the road a piece, it's a cool vibe to go to. I highly recommend it. So that I just wanted to mention that to you. Any other things that we need to mention here today? Of course, Ann, there's always something you could mention. Did you see about that fireball that fell out of the sky? And I think people were seeing it over South Carolina and other areas too. But there are videos on the internet of that fireball, and they believe it was a meteorite. So that was pretty cool. Anything else we want to make sure that we talk about here today? I don't know, Ann. Let's see what we got. Oh, my goodness. Yep. Well, that's not it. Okay. Well, there are many things going on in Greenwood. You know, there always are. Let me flip through here and see what I've got. And if you have something you'd like me to talk about, make sure you send me either a message or send me an email at wcrsinfo@gmail.com. That's WCRS email, WCRSinfo@gmail.com. Well, of course, Ann, how could you forget about the Festival of Stars? That's going on this weekend. That's right. Lots of fun, lots of excitement, and of course it all ends with the Festival of Stars. It kicked off last night with food and vendors and amusement rides, along with a performance by New Chosen at 6:30. Throughout the festival weekend, you'll have live performances by Boggs Brothers Band, the Kyle Anton Roping the Wind Band, not familiar with that one, Joseph Grayson Band, Chris Turner, and a whole lot others, and a lot of fun, as well as a car show. They're having a car show there tomorrow, so make sure you check out that. Make sure if you're out and about that you are staying well hydrated. It's not going to be as hot as it was earlier in the week, but it's still going to be hot, and I think it's going to be oppressive with the humidity and everything that is out there. Today, the Festival of Stars is from 10 to 10, and Saturday it's from 10 to 11, with opening ceremonies at 1 p.m. So check it all out. More information available at scfestivalofstars.com, scfestivalsofstars.com. And that is what we have going on. Lots of good music in the area. Local Focal is always on the air with us. Well, if they turn it in, they are, telling us where music is around our area. So that's going to do it for me. You are listening to WCRS Radio right here in Greenwood, South Carolina. We also, as we are on Facebook Live. And don't forget the big announcement. The big announcement. You can now check out our Facebook Lives. After they're live on Facebook, they are now being posted on our website, WCRS1450am.net, and they're on YouTube. So on the YouTube, you can just go to the website, and then that'll take you to YouTube. But if you want to go directly on YouTube, or if you're hanging out on YouTube and want to hear what I'm saying, just go to WCRS. Just go to Anne, A-N-N-E, Eller, E-L-L-E-R, dash WCRS, and you will find us right there with lots of videos, lots of information, and lots of bloopers from Ann. You know, I'm a blooper girl. I do lots of bloopers right here live on the air. That's going to do it for me. We had a great week this week. We interviewed Alan Wilson. We interviewed Ellen Weaver, the superintendent of schools. Of course, Alan Wilson is running for governor. He is the attorney general, and gave us some opinions on hate crimes if you're interested in finding out more about hate crime ordinances. And then we also had Ellen. Yeah, we just had a lot of good stuff going on over the last few weeks. Hope you'll check it out. That's going to do it for me. This is WCRS right here in Greenwood, South Carolina. Had a blast and had a great time last night. And don't forget about checking out gwdpathway.org for more information about an organization that deserves our thanks and our praise for what they have developed right here in Greenwood. That's going to do it for me. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. I'll be here in the morning trying to stay cool, playing some cool music. Well, what's it going to be? I don't know. We'll just have a cool time. Tune in 9:30 to 12:30 right here on WCRS. Bye-bye, everybody.
Keep on sharing.
The phones are open.
Keep on laughing.
Give us a call.
You got it.